Welcome back, everybody. Sheepdog Smokey here, and this is one that's been going around since 2016. If you'll remember, Hillary Clinton very publicly said that anyone who does not respect the results of the election is a threat to democracy. And of course, now for over 2 years, she has refused to accept the results of the 2016 election. Since last year, Stacey Abrams has maintained that she is the governor of Georgia and was cheated out of the election. Well, now it's even infecting Congress, with Nancy Pelosi warns Democrats that President Trump won't respect losing election results. Representative Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, says she's warning fellow Democrats that if President Trump isn't defeated by a sizable margin in the 2020 presidential elections, that he won't respect the outcome of the vote and may refuse to leave office. Mediaite reports that the newly crowned Speaker of the House has also been cautioning her colleagues to remain more moderate on the campaign trail so that they don't play into Trump's hands and accidentally verify his claims that Democrats intend to move the country toward socialism. If we win by 4 seats, by 1,000 votes each, he's not going to respect the election, Pelosi told the New York Times in a wide-ranging interview published Sunday, adding that she had the same concerns before the 2018 elections when Democrats retook the House of Representatives. He would poison the public mind. He would challenge each of the races. He would say, "You can't seat these people," she told the New York Times. "We had to win. Imagine if we hadn't won." Oh, don't even imagine. So as we go forward, we have to have the same approach. Pelosi then added she and Democrats believe they would have to inoculate against the possibility that Mr. Trump would not give up power voluntarily if he lost re-election. Part of her strategy of inoculation involves convincing fellow Democrats that impeachment is not the best route for challenging the president in Congress. Instead, she believes Democrats should focus on making 2020 elections a referendum on Trump's performance and his culpability in obstructing Special Counsel Mueller's investigation into whether Trump's campaign colluded with Russian officials to alter the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. I'm going to stop here for a moment. Speaker Pelosi, Robert Mueller's report, which you continue to demand to be released, even though it has been released, clearly states there is no evidence of collusion, and it could not prove obstruction. You are quite literally demanding that all the evidence be ignored and you just be obeyed. If that's not socialism, I don't know what is. It's what happens in every socialist country. Look to Venezuela right now, where Nicolas Maduro is literally demanding the entire country simply obey him. Do not get dragged into a protracted impeachment bid that will ultimately get crushed in the Republican-controlled Senate, and do not risk alienating the moderate voters who flocked to the party in 2018 by drifting too far to the left, Pelosi suggests, according to the New York Times. Pelosi's comments will be surprising to both Democrats and Republicans. Democrats are certainly anticipating the 2020 race for the presidential nomination to be between the members of the party's far-left progressive wing, and not between moderates representing the center-left. Progressive activists are desperately pushing the party to nominate Senator Bernie Sanders, independent Vermont, as a way of making up for the socialist candidate's defeat in 2016. And even though the more moderate former Vice President Joe Biden is in the lead, there is a visible, concerted effort to derail his potential campaign. Republicans may be surprised to learn that Democrats, including Pelosi, are still operating under the delusion that President Trump is the most likely 2020 candidate to refuse to accept election results, particularly given that former Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton is still relitigating the 2016 election, and that key Democratic candidates, like former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams, are refusing to accept even certified election results. Clinton, for example, told a Los Angeles audience Saturday night that she believes she was robbed of the presidency back in 2016. Of course, Clinton didn't run the best campaign, and not even by Democratic standards. She skipped several key states like Michigan and Wisconsin, where faulty internal polling showed her far ahead. As a result, she failed to get the number of electoral college votes needed to solidify a victory. Abrams told an audience last week that she wasn't governor of Georgia yet, despite losing the state by more than 50,000 votes. You see, this is a key Democrat strategy. accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. Nancy Pelosi has watched for over 2 years as Hillary Clinton has refused to accept the results of the election. She has watched now for several months as Stacey Abrams has refused to accept the results of an election. She is, of course, trying to demand obedience and failing every time. And of course, to her, that is just evidence that President Trump is evil. She is not being obeyed, so of course it must be Trump. Attorney General Barr testified in Congress in the Senate last week, stating that there was no collusion, there was no obstruction. The Mueller report states those two things. They tried to say he's lying because Mueller said he inaccurately reported that, and of course Mueller's own letter to Barr states Barr did not inaccurately report anything. The media did. But of course, they will never admit that the media is their puppet. They'll never admit that it was the media that was just reporting. Hillary's going to win. She's at 95%. Congratulations, President Clinton, months before the election in 2016. That, of course, was because the Democrats had made sure that the media was on their side. They felt that, like in 2000, where if they called the election early, it would just happen. Remember, in 2000, Florida was called before the far western panhandle counties were closed, and many voters just went home thinking their votes would not count because the election had been called. It thankfully did not work then, and it did not work in 2016. Of course, in 2000, Al Gore conceded and then said, no, never mind, I don't concede, I really won. And tried until Inauguration Day to demand that he just be handed the presidency. Hillary Clinton did not stop at Inauguration Day. She's gone for over 2 years just demanding that the public somehow make her president because, of course, in her mind, she was robbed. This is going to be the Democrats' ploy from now until time immemorial. They're never going to accept that they do not win. They will never accept that people don't want socialism. Nancy Pelosi is finally doing one thing that is not completely crap insane and telling her party not to speak about socialism. She's almost being honest, because if she were truly being honest, it would be, don't let them know we're going to push socialism. We'll wait until we win, and then they can't do anything. They're going to cheat in 2020. They're going to. Thankfully, we have states waking up to this. We have the 2020 census, which ultimately will go to the Supreme Court, and if the attorney for the government does not simply state, the 26th Amendment states that citizens 18 years of age or older have the right to vote. Therefore, we must know how many citizens of that age or older we have. The Constitution is very clear, and this is why the Democrats are demanding that certain things just not be spoken of, certain things just not be done. But I've talked about this long enough. Let me know what you think. As always, remember to keep it civil. We don't learn from argument, we learn from debate. And, of course, remember to like, share, and comment on this video, as well as to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you're among the first to know of all new content as it is posted. Until next time, everyone have a wonderful day.